So when you think about the global energy transition, you probably picture one single story, right? Well, the truth is, it's not. Right now, it's a paradox. The whole world is moving at two completely different speeds, and it's creating this huge, fascinating clash over how we're going to power our future. Okay, let's get into it.
Think about it like this. In one corner, you've got the world of traditional energy, and their message is crystal clear. Oil and gas are here to stay for a long time. But in the other corner, you have this growing global consensus that's demanding an urgent, fast transition away from fossil fuels. And look, these aren't just different opinions. These two realities are driving billions, trillions really, of dollars in investment in completely opposite directions.
So how in the world do we make sense of this contradiction? Well, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll dive into these two parallel worlds. Then, we'll hit a reality check and look at the real-world gaps causing all this friction. After that, we'll introduce a massive new player that's changing the game, artificial intelligence. And finally, we'll look at the incredible race to innovate and power our future.
Okay, first up, a tale of two worlds. We're going to examine the great divide in the global energy conversation. And believe me, from huge oil conferences in Abu Dhabi to major climate summits in Brazil, the world's leaders are telling two fundamentally different stories about where we're all headed. All right, number two, the resurgence of oil. Let's dig into the confident world of traditional energy. So let's start with that first narrative. At recent industry events like ADIPEC 2025, the mood wasn't just optimistic, it was really confident.
I mean, analysts from Wood Mackenzie said the return of confidence was almost palpable. You could just feel it. The key players in oil and gas, from the big international corporations to the national oil companies, they are not planning an exit. No way. They are planning for a long and very resilient future.
And here's the crucial point. It's all about their timeline. The industry consensus is that peak oil demand is not coming anytime soon. They see it happening well into the 2030s and perhaps beyond. Now, that's not just talk. That belief is directly shaping their strategy, and it's driving massive investment to strengthen production for the next decade.
Number 3, the revolution in renewables. Now, let's do a full 180 and pivot to that second, competing narrative, the world of climate action, where the sense of urgency could not be more different.
This world is defined by huge, ambitious targets. The headline goal, the one you hear about at every summit from COP28 to COP30, is this: triple the world's renewable energy capacity by 2030. That's a massive lift. But it's not just about generating more clean power. There's another goal that's just as important: doubling the rate of energy efficiency improvements. You know, the thinking is simple. The cleanest and cheapest energy is the energy you don't even have to use. Of course, ambition needs money. A lot of it. The international community is talking about a broader target of mobilizing $1.3 trillion for developing countries by 2035, just to make sure this transition doesn't leave huge parts of the world behind. Which brings us to number 4, a reality check. This is where we look at the chasm between ambitious goals and what's actually happening on the ground. So yeah, we have these two powerful narratives, but the reality is far messier. There are some serious gaps that complicate both of these visions for the future.
I mean, just look at where the money's going. Remember that $1.3 trillion goal for developing nations? We are nowhere close. It's actually kind of staggering. A whopping 90% of all energy transition investment is concentrated in advanced economies in China. That leaves just 10% for everyone else. This imbalance is a major roadblock.
Now, the mechanism for turning these global goals into action is something called NDCs, or Nationally Determined Contributions. You can basically think of these as each country's individual climate action plan. But here's the catch. When you look at the analysis, the current plans, even the updated ones, fall way short of what's needed to meet the big Paris Agreement targets.
But there's one problem that absolutely everyone agrees on, and this quote just nails it. And interestingly, it came from that big oil and gas conference. You can't run tomorrow's energy system on yesterday's grid. Our electrical infrastructure is old. It just wasn't built for a world of decentralized renewable energy.
And the scale of that problem is immense. We need to invest a minimum of $791 billion every single year until 2030, just on grids and making them more flexible. Without this, all the new solar panels and wind turbines in the world won't be able to deliver their power reliably.
Okay, on to number 5, AI, the great accelerator. So you've got the old energy world, the new energy world, and all the gaps in between. But now, a complete wild card has entered the game.
a new source of demand that is scrambling everybody's calculations.
So, what's this huge new player? It's not a country, it's not a new fuel source. It's the tech industry, and specifically the absolute boom in artificial intelligence.
At ADPEC, they put it this way. The old saying was, knowledge is power, but today, power is knowledge. This global AI arms race has created a ravenous, almost insatiable appetite for electricity to power these massive data centers.
And this is the chain reaction. The AI boom leads to a global frenzy of data center construction. Every single one of these new buildings creates a massive new surge in power demand, which puts an incredible new strain on the entire energy supply. And it challenges both the fossil fuel and the renewable roadmaps.
And that brings us to number 6, the race to power tomorrow. This complex, messy reality is forcing an incredible race to innovate. So let's look at the solutions and the technology being deployed to solve these massive challenges.
One of the most critical pieces of the whole puzzle is energy storage. Because let's face it, the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. Large-scale battery facilities like this are absolutely essential to store that excess renewable power and then release it when we need it, which provides crucial stability to the grid. And the toolbox of innovation is just expanding like crazy. We're seeing breakthroughs in advanced solar cells that are way more efficient, next-gen solid-state batteries, and the scaling of green hydrogen. We're even using AI itself to create smarter grids and deploying renewables in new ways, like floating solar farms.
But let's land on this crucial final point. As Beena Sharma, a leader in carbon capture, pointed out, this race is far from over. About half of the technology we actually need to get to net zero hasn't even been invented yet. It's still just an idea sitting in some university or research center. Now that is both a daunting challenge and an incredible opportunity.
Which leaves us with the central question. With the energy world moving at two distinct speeds, complicated by huge gaps and disruptive new demands, who is ultimately going to win the race to power our future?